Previously on Calamari, we upgraded the clutch to an XD heavy duty. We upgraded the turbo to a high flow turbo. We also upgraded the whole fuel system, ready for some E85. Adam blew into a catch can, added a front mount intercooler, a Haltech Elite ECU, and a bunch of other modifications. And on this episode, it's finally time to see how much power my R34 makes. Once everything's dialed in, it's finally time for a power run. The intercooler piping let us down again, but I was still happy. And finally, we made some decent power. Through a very restrictive exhaust, the car made 334 horsepower on 16 psi running E85. So, got the car back. Here we are. Clutch is a bit grippy, but it feels really good considering how much power it can hold, to be honest. For some reason there's an on-ramp. I don't know how or why, but you know. Holy, okay. That was it only made 334 horsepower, but this feels insane. That's insane! The turbo kicks in so quick. It is so responsive. That is unbelievable. Oh my god. Yeah, if you're looking for a turbo, get a high flow because that's holy. It only made 334 horsepower, but to some people that's not a lot. Fair enough. But to me, mentally, especially knowing that this used to be non-turbo, it's just mind-boggling. It's just quite amazing, and it feels awesome. The gearbox did not blow up. Tell me about it, I know. I'm a bit worried though, honestly. The amount of power, it feels insane. Like, I feel really sorry for it, and the diff. So there's something that I will have to definitely be replacing. But the clutch and everything feels really good. Like, it just feels really well put together. One issue is my brakes. They need doing. They need upgrading for this power. I should have probably looked at doing that, but definitely look at doing it soon because that's really bad. But I'm really happy with this power. The thing that is restricting me now from making more power, which this setup is definitely capable of making more power, is my exhaust. My exhaust is very restrictive, the tuner said, and I think I don't know if my cat's just gone funny or there's just some sort of blockage from, because it's still the original exhaust, which I honestly didn't think about. I really should have just upgraded. Yeah, it's a bit silly, but well, I'm really happy with this power. This power is going to be good until I start doing ARP head starts, head gasket, gearbox, diff, you know, but this is just good, fun power. It's not over the top, it's just nice and solid. It's cool. But yeah, but from your perspective, it seems like I've got straight out of the shed, I've gone straight to the tuners, made some awesome power, But the truth is, I have not seen this car for a month. That is the truth. Behind the camera, there's been a lot of issues with tuners. That's not the only guy I've been to. It's a third tuner, believe it or not. And I've just had a lot of issues with workshops trying to help me out with little things that I didn't feel safe doing, you know. But if I did go to the workshop, they'd be able to cover it and stuff like that. But it sucks, and I'm going to run you through what has changed and what exactly happened.
Instead of going back to Adam's shed, we're going back to mine.
These are the things that went wrong. So overall, it wasn't too fun of an experience. Like, you get your car tuned, you got this cool car that goes quick, but mine wasn't as fun as that, unfortunately. So as you saw in Adam's shed, we did the clutch, turbo, all the major stuff, so that we could learn and we didn't have to pay someone else a fortune to do it. So we did all that stuff, and the plan was to get the Haltech sensors, the sensors that go to the Haltech, all wired in, because we didn't trust ourselves to do that. Like, we've never done that before. Adam didn't really feel safe doing it, and if something did go wrong, it'd be on us. So if we get someone else to do it, they can figure it out. Now, that was probably the worst decision I made. So as you saw, we ran out of time trying to get it started, so because the tow truck rocked up. So it got towed to a workshop that was going to check everything over for us and wire in the sensors. So they said, yep, we'll do it. Awesome, sweet. So they said that they would get all that done, but I went to pick up the car and they couldn't get it started, and they moved a few things. Like they moved the boost solenoid valve, which is fair. It's closer to the Haltech at least. They did a pressure test. They did all that stuff to check it over, and they wired in the sensors to the Haltech. Awesome. But they couldn't get it started, and that was some bad news. But then they said, don't worry, go to the tuners. And as I was leaving, they said, we also wired in a fuel pump relay. So I said, what? I didn't ask for that. So they said, oh, you didn't have one, so we put one in. And I said, I didn't really need one. So, but he only went off what he knows, and he's never probably seen this before, but I couldn't really do much about it. So now I have a fuel pump relay. So then it went to the tuner, and then issues went all over the shop. And it wasn't anything that we did, thank God. So the Haltech was wired up wrong, which led to heaps of things going all over the shop, sensors going weird. One of the sensors gave up and stopped working. Piping kept blowing off. Communication was out the window. The car was left outside with the windows down. A lot of issues. And this was over a period of a month that I didn't have the car, which was horrible. So, and that place was not too close to my place, so I had to keep traveling back and forth, seeing how everything's going, and yeah, it was not fun. Like, we had things going wrong to the clutch not engaging. I needed a new clutch apparently, and had things to intercooler piping blow off, which took 2 weeks to do. Like, just simply weld up something. It was not fun, and I'm not mentioning any workshop names. So I've eventually had to go back and forth between the two shops, figuring out who's going to fix what, and they were both nice about it. They did the right thing, but it's just bad experience. So there's a few new things added. Nothing majorly has changed, but I eventually took the car back, and like you saw this morning, took it up to Tuned Performance on north side of Brisbane, Australia. And he was just an awesome bloke, sort everything out for me, and it took this morning, you know, it didn't take long at all. It just went straight through everything, and if there was an issue, he would ask me about it, tell me about it, teach me a bit about it, and solve it. Awesome stuff. And I was so happy about that, and went straight on the dyno, made 334 horsepower on 16 psi. How awesome is that? So, and it's so good to be able to drive it now. and not go through any more issues, which is awesome. Two things I did learn were, one being that you need to create a relationship, a bond with your tuner so that you know what's going on, because the first couple of guys I went to, I didn't really have the best sort of relationship. They didn't want to know who I was. They didn't really care. And they were just like, this is a job, whatever. The closer you can get with these guys that are working on something you love, the better it's going to be. Second thing I learnt was, don't have a budget, because most of the time it will definitely go over. A lot of people that I spoke to along the way said, oh, well, what did you expect? It was going to go a few grand over. There's nothing you can do. And so if you're doing something like this isn't even really a huge job, but no matter what you're doing, just have a few bits of money to the side that you can always fall back on. And now you're wondering, what are we going to be doing now? Now that the Skyline's done, what's next? Well, the Skyline, I wouldn't say is done, because all the stuff that we just did to it is capable of a lot more power. But the thing that's holding us back from more power is the exhaust. Well, that's really the biggest thing. So probably the next few videos, we might be upgrading the exhaust, doing the brakes, because the brakes need upgrading because they're horrible. We're going to be doing just a few little things, nothing too major, but we got a few more projects. Few more. You're probably wondering, what do you mean? Well, come with me. Like I said, we got a few projects, like the Daihatsu and the GT4, and that's a real GT4. But it's up to you guys whether we continue. So like, subscribe, comment what you want us to do. And you haven't even seen Adam's car yet. See you soon.